I'm LaCasse. I'm an SEO expert. I've been doing SEO for about 5 years. It's my business partner over there, one of my business partners. And basically, this is the untold truth of SEO, right? There's a lot of things, especially with the marketing people that are already here, that SEOs, and they talk about certain things. This presentation is the actual truth about it, right? Been doing it for a long time. I've done financial advisors, junk removal, strip clubs. I've done it all, right? And they all kind of follow some kind of pattern. But my presentations are always a basic understanding of the SEO world in the beginning, and then I go into my subject, right? So we'll just go over the real easy stuff here. These are the 3 pillars of SEO: technical, content, and backlinks, right? So when we have a business website, the first thing we need to look at is the technicals. Does it even load? Is it loading slow, right? Does it have broken links? Does it have the HTTPS? Does it have the SSL certificate? And that's for desktop. You also have to consider mobile. Most people don't even realize that 70% of their customers are going to be coming from their mobile layout. So if that's got animations, videos, if it's got a lot of jumbled text and a lot of pictures, it's going to slow. It's going to be very slow, and people bounce off. There's a data point for that, right? What's going on, man? Say to come and sit down. Anyway, second part is content SEO, right? Content SEO is the part of a business website that you are ultimately going to be responsible for, right? What are you going to post? How are you going to get in front of people? Your videos, your blogs, your on-page SEO. How is that supposed to derive from what you want your vision of your business to be to what the customers see, right? That's content. Now, even along with that is social posts, because Instagram is now an SEO subset. It's not all this algorithm because they got rid of hashtags, right? So now SEO and search intent is a part of Instagram now, right? What you say and how you say it is indicative of who's going to actually find you, right? Last one is backlinks. This will separate the hobbies from the business. How are you promoting your business so that other people see it and create a link to go to you and you go to them, right? Most of the businesses that I see here have less than 100. The ones that actually make it to the top 5 have 1,000, because there's an adequate amount of movement into the backlinks. And even then, local directories. Do you know how easy it is to get to 15 local directories here in Las Vegas in less than a week? And that grows over time because other people are finding you, and it just grows exponentially, right? Blog outreach. If you want to start writing blogs, you have to let people in the industry know that you have written a blog so that they can first read it and then make a link to go read it themselves. That adds more backlinks, that adds referring domains, that grows over time, right? Partnerships. You work with someone else that's in your industry and they take their website and you take your website and you blend into an article, that's a backlink too. And podcasts. I'm going to mention podcasts later on, but podcasts are very important if you get into them. I have my arguments about even starting one because you shouldn't start one, but getting on them, huge for backlinks because you're part of their network as well. Okay, so the Google puzzle. How does Google actually rank things? Well, they use this thing called search intent. Search intent is informational, navigational, transactional, and commercial. Here's an example, right? So informational intent, what the name of the business is, the location of the business, directions to the business, the phone number for the business. That's informational. Now, we do live in an era where this is getting taken over by AI. The generative AI is taking over informational intent, and there's nothing you can really do about it except just make sure that it's up to date. Navigational. Navigational intent is leaving Google's search result page to go somewhere else. Like if you sold bicycle parts and you had a directory of bicycle parts where they could add in, like an e-commerce. That's navigation because you're navigating away from Google to your own e-commerce platform. Transactional. These are for people that are ready to buy. The transactional word, cheapest, affordable, nearest me, it's actually two of them. Because people that are searching for near me are wanting to buy something, but it's also informational. And to get the near me keyword, you have to have a Google My Business profile. You could get away with a Yelp, but Yelp is not on Google. It's a web page. Google is on a search engine. Two completely different things. And commercial intent is where you get to compare your business to someone else. How are you doing things better? 3 best bicycle shops in Henderson. Now, you could put yourself in there as one of the top 3, and therefore you're fulfilling commercial intent, right? Or make yourself an honorable mention. Now that you're trying to go for that commercial intent work, now you can go to the blogs and say, hey, I put you on my list as the top 3 bikes shops in Henderson. Do you think you could say yes or no or have a link on your website because I mentioned you? So now you're using search intent along with your content for a backlink. It all is part of this circle. So how do you get a keyword? The acronym for the keywords is EEAT. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. Now this is how you write about being the best bike shop in Las Vegas. How do you use that? I've been in the bike business for 15 years. I've had many people come to me for making custom bikes for themselves. Because of this, I'm the most authoritative. I understand how bikes for different types of outdoors, stuff like that. Because of that, I'm the #1 trusted bike shop in Las Vegas. Those are the actual copy that you would use to establish EAT. Now, there's one place where this actually is really, really important, and that's Reddit. If you get into a Reddit account for your business and you can talk about your experience, your expertise, and your authoritativeness in your Reddit for a subreddit for your business, boom. Because Google is buying that content. They buy it every 6 months and then they pull it into the search results page. That, if you get a popular Reddit account, you will rank just for that, just for one program, right? That is why Reddit is so important for establishing this, because there's always going to be a record of what you've said and how you said it and why you are the best, why you're the authority. That's how it all works. Okay, Google Ads versus SEO. Now, every time I give one of these lectures, little things change over time. It's never concrete, and that's what I love about SEO. It never is ever concrete. Things change all the time. This is a great example. Now, months in the past, I would have said, you know what? If you want customers, pay for Google Ads. I can't beat Google Ads. You're paying to rent the keyword, you're going to get customers. People are going to see it and they'll click. Even with the best conversion rate of Google Ads being 20% on a really good optimized ad. 20% actually get to your website. But this is how I'm adding an asterisk to that. When you start a business, once you have established the fact that you can bring in some organic traffic, start running ads. Because you're taking that water of all that traffic and you're going to pour it all over your website, and you're going to find where the weaknesses of your website are just from the ads itself. There are clients that I've had where I wrote optimized, very, very cheap Google ads that converted for Las Vegas. 90% bounce rate. And we had to look at the homepage to see what was going on. Do we need to change the copy? Because now we know what that big gap is. People are going to the website, but they're clicking off. Now it's on me to readdress the on page so it's more optimized. Google ads are not a luxury, it's a necessity now. Go ahead.
What's a bounce rate?
So bounce rate is when you go to a website and within 4 seconds, you've bounced off. It's a huge indicator for your on page, because if you're writing good ads and it's converting, they'll stay on there and that bounce rate will go low. But if you're writing good ads and you don't have good copy on your website, people bounce off, right? And that's a big SEO number to keep in mind. So this is my seed analogy. Oh, did you have another question? No, okay. This is my seed analogy for how SEO works. The very end of the seed, that is your business web page. Once you go live, you put it into the ground and it starts to grow. The dirt is Google, right? As you grow, you will see that we only see the top part of the branch. That's your on-page SEO, that's your socials, that's your videos, that's what you see as your business representation. SEO is the roots. That's all that I care about when it comes to a business website. That's my client. I don't want, this is their responsibility. Customer service, the way that the logo works, the color palette of the website, whether or not it's bearing fruit. This is keyword research, backlinks, PR. This is technical SEO, making sure that everything is flowing just right. This is site audits. This is all the stuff that keeps the integrity of the plant to grow so that it starts growing upward, right? Most businesses that have not considered this, they may actually be here, but the roots are way down there, and they have 3 months. They don't know why they're losing traffic every month. They don't know why, hey, everything was going good when we were here. I was getting 30, 40 visits a month, no problem. Now they're at 20. Now they're at 4. And they come to an SEO and they say, I need to know what's going on. And this is how I explain it to them. So that's the beginning half of what I do, or at least for presenting. Now comes the second half of the specific topic. And this is a fun one because this is the biggest SEO scams that I have found and why they're scams and why you need to be careful. First one, guaranteed number 1 rankings. You probably get the phone call maybe once or twice a week from someone saying, I just came across your Google My Business profile. I want you to know that we can get you to the number 1 position in less than a month. How many of you just hang up the phone? Right? We all hang up the phone, right? So what is it that they're actually doing? Well, in the SEO world, this is what we do a case study on. What is actually going on? Well, what they're doing is they're buying cheap keywords that are not relevant to your business. They're asking for $1,000 a month. They're spending less than $50, and they're keeping the rest of the money. They're fulfilling their promise with the ad because it does show up number 1 on a page, but it's for a keyword that doesn't mean anything to you. It has nothing to do with your business. And they just keep on rotating it and rotating and rotating it and asking for more money and more crappy keywords, and it just starts this vicious cycle.
Meanwhile, you never actually beat your competitor at the top.
Because you're not competing with them. You're competing for something else.
Yeah, it's a frivolous term, whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever.
See it all the time. All the time. Second one, we built you 1,000 backlinks overnight. I see this one a lot. Even those that try to email me about getting backlinks for my own website. This is really a bad spammy thing. So here's what they're doing, right? They have a couple people that will fill out thousands of backlink requests, directories. Has nothing to do with your industry, nothing to do with Las Vegas. It's not even in the English language. It's in a completely spammy type of backlinks, right? And you get 1,000 of them. So when you run an audit, you see, holy crap, I got 1,000 backlinks. But Google knows this. Google knows these types of businesses that do this, and they will punish you. They will find out, why are you promoting on a directory in Russia when you don't have anything to do with Russia? Once they start going through and you start doing your site audits and the next algorithm update comes, guess who's getting punished? Your website. And in some cases, if you find, or if someone's called the link farm, where instead of the backlinks, they add 1,000 URLs to your website, good luck if you last 30 days. Because Google will find out and they will punish you. And they will just, in some situations, if it's really bad, if you really got taken, your website won't even load. They'll take it off, completely off the grid. And it happens. You got to be very careful when it comes to people trying to sell you thousands of anything. Doesn't work like that. So, next one. We will create AI content that ranks instantly. This is a new one. This is one that probably you heard about today in this place. It happens. AI content will not rank you, period. It is only designed to do mass amount of words, and Google has found out how non-human content is written. Like I said before, to establish your professional EAT for search intent, you have to put yourself out there. You have to write. That's where Reddit comes in. You get to expel who you are and what you do. AI has nothing to do with Reddit, and that is why AI is not going to last very long when it comes to writing content. You got to write it for yourself, right? And I see this all the time. When AI was first coming out, everyone thought it was great. Oh, I can just do 50 blog posts a week. Well, you want to know how it's not working? You're not getting any visits. No one's coming to your website if you're doing that much work, if you're having AI to do all that work for you. Do it yourself. You can use AI to give you the topics. There's nothing wrong with titles. You can have AI help you with the titles, but don't let it do the whole writing for you, because you will notice it won't rank. And the whole point of having a blog or writing blogs for your business is so that people can find you. And if they're using the same language as anyone else that's using ChatGPT, you won't stand out. You'll be just like everybody else. And you need, in a business, you need to keep thinking of what can I do to talk about this? What can I do to talk about that? You have to stay fresh. AI is not going to help you with that, right? Next one. Same thing as before, the thousands of backlinks overnight. Same thing if you actually pay anyone from a cold email that says, hey, I can get you 1,000 backlinks overnight. It's only $300. Put it in the spam folder and don't even look at it, because it's going to hurt you eventually, right? It's just not, you want to earn this, right? Like I said with the seed, you can't just buy the fertilizer, put it on top of the plant, and it becomes a budding plant overnight. It doesn't work like that. You have to give it time. It has to grow organically, right? Now, the next slide is the digital marketing red flags. Starting a podcast helps my SEO. No, it doesn't. How can you rank for an audio? Audio isn't crawlable. You can't type into Google, find me an audio that has this word in it, and hit it. It's going to send you to YouTube. It's going to send you to Spotify. It's not going to, Google doesn't rank audio, right? It also doesn't give you any keywords. Podcast is another plant that you're planting in your garden. It doesn't make sense if you're trying to grow a business that you would start another one, right? Now, getting on podcasts, absolutely necessary. If you want to establish a real EEAT, real search intent, get on as many podcasts as you can possibly get on, because you are giving them your information, they're giving you back their traffic and their backlink, right? The last one, the infamous link tree. Link tree is a joke. I see it all the time on other digital marketers' bios for Instagram. And you know what? Any SEO that says that Instagram is a relative channel, you gotta laugh at them, because it isn't. SEOs don't look at Instagram with anything other than awareness. You can't rank for anything on Instagram. You're lucky if you get something that's posted on a discovery page when someone looks up something, right? Linktree gets in the way of one of the most fundamental elements of SEO, and that's the referral code. If you post something on Instagram and you put a link to your website on it, and it's well thought out, you are establishing EAT with your posts, right? A video, a reel, and you have your link below and they click on that, that's a credit to you for a referral. They came from Instagram to your website. But if you have a link tree there, who's getting credit for it? Linktree, not you. Linktree's getting it, right? Go ahead.
So would your recommendation be to if you are going to use Instagram, where you're going to want to have a roll-up selection of the things that you include, since you can't link per post, right? That you create a Linktree type page directory on your own site.
That's the way to get around it. You create a landing page on your own website and use that as the referring on your bio. Take Linktree out of it. Linktree is a waste. And I see too many digital marketers, and this is not just Las Vegas, I see it all over the place. And even in SEO Reddits and SEO case studies that are webinars, we find those digital marketers that have Linktrees and we say they got a Linktree, and we all laugh because it's absolutely irrelevant for SEO. The point of having an Instagram is to gain awareness. You want to know who's coming from Instagram to your website. Why are you giving that traffic to a program? And to it's a static program. It's not even linked to anything else. You're buying a page on their network, and then you're saying, "Oh, well, I'll just list all my things." Just build a web page on your own web page that does the same thing, and link it to that. At least you'll get the referral code, and you'll get the internal structure, right? If they click under the things, your videos, your blogs, your bio. Don't give it to Linktree. It just doesn't make any sense. And you're wasting time and you're wasting your money for Linktree. But again, because it's popular, everyone has it, especially digital marketers. But anyway, that is it. Do we have any questions whatsoever? I know I kind of breezed through this one, but yes?
So the value of putting your website in the bio, the Instagram bio, is that you know that it came from your Instagram account?
Yep.
Wouldn't you know it came from Linktree, and that's...
No. So Linktree is a closed system, right? You can't find the traffic from it because it's a closed system. Kind of like Facebook, right? Facebook, Instagram are web pages on a website. You can't pull up your profile into like a search or like a site explorer on Ahrefs and see how much traffic came because it's a closed system. However, if you put a link from your website /link or Linktree or link page, when they click on that, that goes to your web page, and that's measurable, right? You can see how many people have come to that.
Could you put that on the Linktree?
You could, but now you're defeating the point of it, right? See, the whole point with Linktree is that you can't rank for keywords. You can't rank for keywords on Linktree. You can't find the referral codes, right? There's no referrals from Linktree, right? So you can't rank. All three of those, if you built a link page on your own website, you'll be able to rank for keywords. You'll be able to find how many backlinks come from it. You'll be able to find the referral code. So you're giving money to something that you can't see when you could do it yourself with little buttons on an own page and make it look better. Have you seen Linktrees? It's one color with like a row of buttons. Now, if you built your own link page, you could add customization to it, right? The only reason why Linktree is popular is because someone decided to sell it really well, and now everyone thinks that's the only way you can stack buttons to other places in your business. But you could do the same thing yourself. You could do it on your own. And again, Linktree also adds into those other linking profiles that's so popular, and it's cheap. So people are buying a cheap solution to a free problem. Just build it yourself. Just build it yourself. It's so much easier, right? Go ahead.
By that you mean putting links to other places within your internal links?
Exactly. So whatever platform you have your website on, you can create a new page, make buttons, and then whatever that link page is, that's what you put into the Instagram profile, right? You take Linktree completely out of the equation. You're paying $10 a month for something that you can't monitor any traffic from. You can't rank for it. You could rank on your own page for your links. And you could also heat map it as well. You can't heat map. You know what a heat map is, right? You can heat map. Heat map is a program that looks at a specific page and it can show you where people have actually clicked. It's a heat map. You can do that for your own website. Can't do that for a LinkedIn, for a Linktree. Because Linktree won't give away the codes so that a user can actually grab the heat map, but you can do it for yourself. right? The whole point of it being is that when it comes to digital marketing, there are just certain things that just don't make sense. There are certain things that are being sold that just don't make any sense, right? Now, again, my philosophy is old school. I believe SEO is psychology and data every single time. The way that you talk about who you are and who you are in your business should be reflective on the type of data that you want to get. Over time, you will get enough data to see whether what you're doing is working or what you're doing isn't working. It's that simple. And the only way that it works is if you have complete control of what it is that you want to see. How do you want to interact with your clients, with your customers, right? SEO ends once the phone is picked up by you. It ends once they walk into the door, right? I don't do customer service. I don't do sales. I do psychology and data. That's what SEOs do. And even with that, a lot of businesses don't realize that their website isn't loading fast. They have error pages. They don't have enough backlinks to compete. And they look at their keywords for their core component of their industry, and they're being overtaken by a franchise. The franchise is number one for their core keywords, right? Best bike shops, best lawyer, they're all franchised. But why do you think they got to number one? Because they've worked on all the elements of SEO. They have thousands of backlinks. They have thousands of referrals, thousands of keywords, because they've used SEO to get to that point. It takes time, but it's very possible in a lot of industries where the bigger company has weaknesses as well. And if you're starting out with your business website and you know who the top number one competitor is, that's the first thing you need to be looking at is how are you doing something better than they are? Are they more engaged with their customers? Do they have ridiculous Instagram posts that make no sense? Well, then post something better. And more importantly, don't rely on posting to get you customers. Blogging is way better than any type of social media out there because you can rank for the keywords. You get to express who you are, right? You get to set all those search intent words on a blog that will engage with someone that wants to know the answer. And then you talk about it on Reddit, right? You establish yourself as an authority on Reddit. All of this, I'll tell you what you don't need. So you don't need cold emails. You don't need to run ads all the time. You don't need to worry about whether that post or whatever is going to work because you just write a blog. Talk about who you are. Talk about what your business is. Talk about insider information on your industry that someone would need to know. And most importantly, you got to think about it as a customer. Businesses that have the ability to take their own ego out of what they're trying to make from their perception of the business and look at it at the perspective of a customer, they will write content for their customer, not for themselves. And those are the ones that, boom, they go straight to, I see it all the time. I see it in the way that they want to, they're passionate about it, but they're also smart. They look for an SEO to give them keywords. They look for an SEO to give them content ideas. And they see one idea and they go with it. And they write 1,000-word blog post and they post it, and then they see it grow from 5 views to 15 to 30. If you want evergreen content, write blogs because they don't stop growing if they're written well, right? Any other questions? Good.
Do you use or recommend an SEO plugin like Yoast or RankMap?
Yes, SimilarWeb is good. Yoast is pretty good. Again, they're good enough as a plugin to give you some generalized information, right? And it's kind of like the argument against AI. Just because an AI told you or gave you a suggestion or a plan, do you know how to even execute on it, right? So you have 100 visits to your website. You look at the number one ranking website for your business, and they got 1,000. So what is the difference between them at the top and where you are? An SEO plugin is only going to give you the numbers. You have to be able to find a way to bridge that gap, right? And bridging the gap could be the backlinks. They just may have more of them. Find their backlinks. Go reach out to those backlinks. Referring domains. Who have they been on a podcast? What's the podcast that they were on? It'll show in the backlink profile of like SEO Click or Yoast, it'll show their backlinks. That's where you copy, paste it, and you say, oh, that's that, that's that, that's that. Competitive analysis is really the more of the application of the data. What are you doing to do better? How do you want to grow this, right? At least you have the data instead of just guessing, but you also have to have a plan and how to beat them, and everyone's beatable. No one holds number one forever, right? That's the good thing about the online business SEO world, right? You could beat them in 6 months or 6 years. It's up to you, right?
Is there some kind of tool that would say, how did that company get to be number one? What do I have to do to analyze how they're number one?
You could. This is where I think AI can come in, because you could give the data to ChatGPT or Gemini and say, this is what I have, my traffic, my backlinks. This is what they have, and import everything, right? Documentation for the backlink profile, your backlink profile. It may not give you the best answer, but it'll give you a plan, right? And again, this is AI. All it is doing is satisfying your needs, right? You got to have a plan if you see that they have 1,000 backlinks and you have 10, right? That's where you got to roll up the sleeves or hire an SEO to go through and put you in for those things, right? That's where AI is kind of falling behind. The AI agents are not there yet to do this for you. But when they do, they're going to charge a lot of money, right? It's just the way that it is. AI operators and AI agents are expensive. That's because it's doing it actually for you, right? Again, you got to look at your competition as the first person to cross the line of the race, right? How far are you behind, and what do you need to do to pass up one more person every month? Now, if you put yourself per day, that you're going to stress yourself out, but a monthly goal of getting 10 more backlinks, you'd be surprised, 60 backlinks in 6 months. That's incredible, and it's very possible to do. But at least you knowing that backlinks could eventually just be the one thing that's keeping you on page 4 as opposed to page 1. For a lot of businesses, that's it. It's just backlinks, right? The more that you put yourself into, the more that directories, Chamber of Commerce, Las Vegas, whatever your industry is, there's industry directories, especially if it's law. There's law directory. There's 75 of them that I found just for Las Vegas lawyers, right? But they know this, and that's why they charge for it, because they know that their directory holds a lot of weight. So when you put yourself into that directory, now you have what's called internal linking from that directory to you, right? So if someone's looking for a lawyer, they scroll down that list and they hit that button. You get the referral, but you also get a lot of their equity as well. And that spills into your rank, right? So another thing to look at it is there's a thing called domain rating, right? Domain rating is a cumulative number of the strength of your homepage, your keywords, your backlinks, your referring domains, and that's it, right? It's out of 100, right? It's a ranking score. Google does this per search results. Whenever you type in something, the highest domain rating websites that fulfill search intent, they get put at the top. The only way to get higher strength is to develop more backlinks. And even with that, with your own blogs, you link all your blogs inside of your website. That's called internal linking. So if you have a blog about, we'll stay with bikes, best bike seats. At the very bottom of that blog, you have best tires, best cafes, bike cafes in Las Vegas. 2 links on that one blog page. When someone's done reading and they click on one of those because it's an interesting topic, both pages get credit for it. The page that they came to and the page that they went to. So now you start to keep them on site, which actually adds up what's called duration of site visit. The ultimate goal is 2 minutes. 2 minutes on a website. Can't beat Amazon. Amazon is like 30 minutes, right? That's why they're number one. Everyone that's on Amazon goes on Amazon for a specific reason. But your goal in your business website is 2 minutes. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but it's very possible within 2 to 3 years to get to that point, if you have enough content to keep them on the page, right? So like I said before, like with the 3 pillars, all those pillars encompass the entire website. Everything about SEO comes down to one of those 3 pillars. If one of them is weak, then it doesn't really help the strength of the overall website. If one of them is really strong, it could actually help the others, right? But the whole point of those pillars is technical is the current state of the website. Content is how you get people to come to you. Backlinks is how you grow the website, right? That's all that it is. It's an ecosystem. And again, I see this in audits all the time, and it's just that people don't know this. They don't know it. They're like, oh my God, I finally realized why I only have 5 backlinks. Cool, double the number. Get to 10 by the end of the month. And you will be surprised. That could be 3 more visits to your website. That could be 1 more phone call per month. And it's something as easy as just putting yourself into directories and then writing blog posts and finding out who would want to know that information about you and then sending them an email telling them that you wrote a blog, right? That's it. But it takes so much time. Now, is AI going to take over this? Eventually, but it's not going to be as good. They're still figuring out how, because a lot of this stuff is done with the APIs of certain programs, Ahrefs, Moz, SEMrush, and that costs a lot of money to get access to that data. But once that starts getting cheaper and AI can come in and say, I want to rank number 1 for this keyword, how much do you think that's going to cost? It's going to cost you $5,000 through AI, but it will do it eventually. But the thing is, the problem also with AI is that it wants to give you the results fast. With what I just showed you guys, it takes time. Things change, industries change, directories change, the flow of content changes. That's why knowing this and keeping a cognitive eye about it allows you to circumvent the changes as they come, right? And it's a long-term game, right? From this, the seed, to possibly being number 1 for, say, 5 to 10 ranking keywords, I see on average at least a year, depending on if it's not part of the 4 horsemen industries that are absolute juggernauts here. Lawyers, real estate, hotels, and health. If you're in any one of those 4, you can add a 0 because it's just that competitive. The number 1 search keyword in Las Vegas is hotels in Las Vegas. 12.5 million searches a month just for that one keyword. Just to borrow it for Google Ads costs you $700 a click. That's the reality of being here in Vegas. If you are in a hotel business, that's 1 keyword. Lawyers, $500 for lawyers in Las Vegas. Why? All the directories, all the added specializations. That 1 word is why it costs $600 per click. You got to have a monthly budget just for that. So you're looking at $60,000, $70,000 a month just to stay competitive by outbidding the other lawyers that are willing to spend $700, $800 a click. That's the reality of SEO, right? And again, did you want to know about this now or did you want to find out later? That's why I do this. That's why I teach this. That's why I present this. Because every single one of you have an obligation to know how this really works. It's not overwhelming, it's just eye-opening, right? That's why this profession exists, because the whole objective of it is to teach the truth, and that is what is ultimately going to help you out in your business. Whether you need an SEO or not, at least you know how this works. Go ahead.
Before I came in, did you cover your favorite tool or method of doing your initial keyword research for your site?
So there's a couple of things that you can do. There's free and then there's paid. I do the paid, which is Ahrefs, right? That does a really good job of doing keyword research. But there is something that you could do on your own.
What's the cost for Ahrefs?
$129 a month. Yep.
And it's just unlimited use of the tool?
Unlimited use of tools and other tools as well. They keep on adding new stuff. So like they actually can do, they bring in Google Search Console now. So I don't have to go to Search Console. They do web traffic, and they also do like the migrations of where people are coming from. Excellent program. I had it way back before COVID when it was like $79, and now there's so many more tools now. However, you're still limited on some of the things, right? But it's still it's called the light level. It's still really good. Still does the job. Yeah. So light. Yep. LATE. So that's 129 is their light account, right? You can bring in unlimited websites as long as you have access to the Google Analytics profile or the Search Console. So as long as you bring that in, you're good to go, and you can monitor everything. Their site audits are really, really good, like the best I've seen. There's also Uber Suggests. That one's good for some keyword research, but it's way better at content. It gives really good content ideas, way better than Ahrefs. Now, for your own website, the easiest free trick to do is the autofill of Google search results, right? So if you have a bike shop, you type in bike shop, and Google will make a list of all the other, it does the autofill for you, right? Take a screenshot, that's your keyword research. Google is giving you ideas right then and there. Best bike shops, Las Vegas, Nevada, Las Vegas, Henderson, Summerlin. And even then, best bike tires. That whole list right there, that's your first keyword research.
So you start putting stuff into what? Search Console?
No, so you put it into the search results. So you type in Google, and you have the nice long bar, and you start typing in your stuff, and then it flows down with a whole bunch of other suggestions.
Yeah. You'll take that, and then you'll compare those. Where will you put them in?
Yep. So you would put it into your meta. So here's another thing too. Putting on the title of your web page, Las Vegas, comma, and V, right? That's huge right now. Because you're forcing the indexing of Google to let you know and let the website know that to put it in the Las Vegas, Nevada area, right?
Is there somewhere that I think it's Search Console or something where you put them in and it will tell you the number of searches on those words? Yes,
not in the Search Console. So there's a couple Chrome plugins that will do that. Ahrefs has a free Chrome plugin, and that will show it underneath the inquiry, right? The total volume, cost per click, and competitiveness, right? And competitiveness is a numerical representation out of 100 of the difficulty to rank for it. So if you have a keyword bikes in Las Vegas or bike shop in Las Vegas, there may only be 100 people searching for it. Therefore, the competitiveness could be a 2. So just having it somewhere on your website allows Google to say, okay, well, this is a bike shop. There's only a couple hundred people searching for this. We're going to rank you page 9. Whereas like with hotels in Las Vegas, good luck. 12.5 million searches. You can't just put hotels in Las Vegas in your website and rank within 5 years. That's because the top 5 results for that inquiry have held on to it for more than 10 years. That's why they can bring up that competitiveness. And that competitive number is like a 75.
Yeah.
It is super hard to rank for that, right?
So if you're making a map of your keywords, or you'll start by doing the actual search, look at all the suggested results, and then you're popping it into a tool that gives you your competitiveness score, and you can make a strategy based on...
Absolutely. So a lot of the time when it comes to those suggested things, it comes down to where the business is currently, right? If they've been around for a couple years, then they're going to actually have some ranking of some keywords. The objective is to find those keywords in the website and either add things to that sentence or to that title or take things away. We're kind of coming into an area in SEO where we're starting to become more lean on what we're saying, right? It's not like the newspaper days of the 1990s and 80s where if you talked about the technical aspects of a vacuum, people read the technical aspects. People buy emotions now. They don't care about the vacuum. They want to care about how much time they're saving from vacuuming their living room. That's how it has evolved, and the website needs to reflect that almost to a 6th grade reading level, right? You can call it whatever you want, the evolution or the idiocracy of our society now, but that's just the way that the data is showing that stuff actually works. Keeping it simple and dumbed down, people understand that and people will read that, right? It even it also throws into your videos, right? Videos are always going to be very popular because people are engaged with something that's in front of their face. If you keep the dialogue simple, then you can't say the copy is wrong because you're actually making it simple for them to understand, right? So again, back to the keyword research. My keyword research is way more complex than that because I have to look at all the intent: informational, navigational, commercial, and transactional. Specifically transactional and commercial. Those are the moneymaker intents, right? And again, there are tools that will show you if a keyword follows that intent. It's better to have all of them across the board as opposed to just focusing on one. But you can focus on one in the beginning, right? Why are you the best at what you do? Why is your business better than this, right? And use your blogs to go after them. This is business. This is your money. This is your traffic that you're fighting for. You can call them out if you want, and don't be afraid to. There's no more niceness about this anymore. This is the digital realm. It's no holds barred if you're willing to go that far. But if you don't, then focus on information, focus on transactional, focus on commercial. But you have nothing is holding you back from writing blogs about why you're better than anyone else. And then telling people about it and have them read it for themselves, you know? Good. Oh, I got the question in the back there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was curious how you think about SEO in other languages. So, like, when you're looking to teach advanced level English,
Yep.
and mainly to like doctors, like medical professionals. And so I'm wondering, some will be searching in English, like medical English. Some will be searching, say, in French, Spanish, whatever other language. I wonder, like, how you think about.
Okay, excellent question. I'm gonna quote I just read this yesterday. So, a month ago, same question that you asked me. You can put into your website a .fr or .espanol, ESP, .Russian, R, whatever, and you could rewrite what's called the hreflang title and put the whole website into that foreign language, and it would rank. That's Google's requirement. But literally less than a week ago, Google said that doesn't matter anymore, right? So if you have a French page, it still goes to Google at the end of the day. There's no more caveats to it, right? So what does that mean? You better use ChatGPT to do all the translations for you. If you know the language, if you don't know the language, or if you know that you're gonna be doing business in Mexico, obviously write it to the extent of your fluency, but always keep in mind that Google is literally saying the gloves are off when it comes to languages. Put it in any language we want, it still goes to the same place, right? Now we're talking to the technicals, making sure that at the top right of the web page, if you have French, Russian, Espanol, whenever you click on those, that it actually loads well. Now we're going into technical SEO. Then you're going into content because now you have to write the content for that. However, as of right now, there is nothing holding you back with that. There used to be one step, because you had to register the foreign language in the href or the H language ref on Google Search Console, but that's gone.
And like sometimes, people have where auto translates now, right, with Google. Does that, like, say for example, could I write an article in English and then if someone searches in Spanish, like best English tutor or whatever, would that still show up, or would I need to actually write that in Spanish?
So what you would do is, it's always better to put it in the foreign language. However, there's a thing called schema markup, all right? That's a JavaScript on the back end that will let Google know that it's in a foreign language. And that is what Google indexes it as. So to answer your question, you don't have to have it in the language. You can have the translate function work. But if you know that you have issues with translation with Google, like most people do, just write a new page for yourself, right? And then do the schema markup on the back end. Do you have a question?
Yes. I'm used to seeing when you do a SERPs, I guess they call it the SERPs, it would come up, it would have a list of businesses. But lately, I've been seeing places come up. Is there something that triggers places to come up as opposed to just seeing a regular list of search results?
So, so if you put in, can you give me an example? Because there's a couple things that happened in the last few months when it comes to the results page.
One example is a friend of mine, he does remodeling for clubs, and he says, oh, there's a new club in town. So I typed in Players Strip Club, Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. It's converting to a new thing, and they're going to do the lights and remodeling. And then what popped up was one of their competitors, but it popped up in places. It showed not only, they typed in their name, but it was their competitor that popped up in places.
And that was next to the map, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's called
It showed the map.
Yep.
When they were the very first thing that came up. And then the actual company they were searching for came up after that.
Right. So that's what's called the map pack, right? So if it's a remodeled business or a new club, they probably haven't been approved by Google My Business for the change of the profile, right? So if you had a brick and mortar business, you would put in for the Google My Business profile. That locks you in for the near me keyword, right? Now I'm not saying that's what you looked at, but that map pack is the ranking of the closest places for your inquiry within like 4 miles of your actual GPS location, right? That's why it's there. However, if that business that you're talking about gets reviews, gets a higher domain rating, right? They've actually built up the website, that will start to come up because it's more powerful. Also, if you went to a place near that new club and re-put into your phone, it would show up higher, right? So that map pack is completely based on the number of reviews for the business that has a business profile, the proximity to your actual GPS location, and then it always changes no matter where you go, right? You could go 3 blocks in the other direction, do it again, and it's a completely different list, right? So,
and does using a VPN change that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the only thing that would change it is if you go down to the very bottom of the search results page, the change location, and you changed like to Henderson or Summerlin or Mesquite, Nevada. That's how you would change the complete layout, because now that actual location has its own rankings, right? Using a VPN, not necessarily, because you're inquiring within the proximity of your phone, right? I don't think it would make any difference, but I haven't really tried that either, to VPN for a Google search, but it shouldn't. It still should be the same.
The reason I asked about the VPN is that I have a med spa in Atlanta, and they were saying, oh, my competitors are doing Google ads. Well, when I was searching here in Las Vegas, I didn't see any Google ads, but they're saying, oh, we see like 5 other people.
There's a big deal about searching for a place way outside of Las Vegas, because it's saying, Google is still saying, why are you searching for that here? We're just going to give you a generalized list for the result page, for the results page, right? Just a generalized list. Now, if you were in Atlanta or wherever you're at and did that, then it would give you more specifics, right? Because they got to consider, well, you're 2 miles away from this spa, but you're 6 miles away from this spa. This spa over here has 20 reviews. This one has 3. Well, we're going to show you this one because this one fulfills your intent better. It's got 30 reviews or so. You might want to go there because a lot of people have wanted to go there. That's a thing too. Reviews for Google My Business profile is huge. It's what separates a lot of those that they're busy, but they're not showing that they're busy. The Google My Business profile shows that you're busy, and those ratings are huge. 5 stars is great, but 4.8 stars is better. Here's why. People read the bad reviews. We all do it. When we are on Amazon and we see that there's 4 or 5 people that gave it 2 stars, what do you think we're going to do? We're going to scroll down and read those 2 stars. Every single one of us does this. So at that point, knowing that, logically, it's how you answer bad reviews. That's what people keep coming back to. Do not argue on your Google review replies. Always keep it generic. We're working on our processes. We appreciate you letting us know that this didn't work out. Whatever you have to say to smooth it over, Because people, and you would be the same way, wouldn't you? If you read a 2-star review and the product manufacturer is like, well, you know, it was your fault that you ordered at 11:59 p.m. and, you know, it was, you know, wasn't our fault that the delivery didn't come on time, and, you know, you live in a really weird area of this city and, you know, it took forever. Would you buy it? No. Again, we're customers too. So again, that's where perception of who you are and the perspective of your customer, that's a huge difference in the business world when it comes online. It is even a bigger difference when you're face to face with a client or a customer, right? You do the same thing. You want to keep them happy. Same thing happens on the internet as well. People read it. More people read that than anything else. So 4.8 is really, really where you want to be. You want to have a bad review. You just do. You don't want to do it purposely, but you know that it's going to come. The more that you get more customers, it's how you handle it.
I had a conversation with a client. They bought 50,000 likes and followers on Facebook. and they had 5 Google reviews. And I said, I think the Google reviews have a lot more precedence.
Way more. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah. And at a certain point, I've seen people try to sell Google reviews, Google business profile reviews. Good luck if you last 3 months. Google finds out, Google takes them away, and Google, in the most extreme circumstances, will shut your account down, and you will never be able to get one. You could appeal for the next 4 months, and it's just not going to happen, right? You can't play with that. We all live in Google's world anyway, so we're just playing by their rules. But anyway, that's the point, is that when the bad reviews comes, that's a good thing. You get to put on that political hat and play the game, the business game with this person, and say, you know what, we're working on this. You know, because that is what you would want to see for a bad review on something you want to work with or someone you want to buy from. Works both ways. The reciprocal nature is just the way that it is right now, right? Any other questions?
Just one quick question.
Yes.
If you make a YouTube video, does Google include the transcript of that in their searches since they own YouTube? Like, how does that integrate with SEO?
So, no, they don't. You have to submit it. Right? So when you load up a video, you can, at the very end, it'll say, do you have a transcript PDF or transcript documentation? Transcripts is kind of a weird gray area when it comes to content. Not many people actually read transcripts anymore, unless they're part of the video or it's their channel to make sure that it's grammatically correct. But having the subtitles is an absolute must. You got to have subtitles in your videos because people are going to turn the volume down and they'll read the subtitles. Transcripts only work, like I said with the podcast, it only works for ranking, right? And it may not rank unless it's something to promote, like a blog or something to promote a product or something like that. Do you need to have it? No. Is it good to have it? Yes. I personally don't do transcripts for my own channel just because that's what the subtitles are for. But that's why it's hard to rank, because I don't put transcripts on there. You know what I mean? So, any other questions? I really appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out for this. Was that? Cool. This is my information. That's my website. That's my Instagram, YouTube channel. If you guys leave me a review on my Google business profile, I will throw in a free site audit. I tried to put the QR code on here last night and it just didn't take, so if you want a free website audit, all I ask is you to leave a review of this presentation and I'll be able to get to you by the end of next week. So that's it. Thank you very much.
If you can hand me that QR code on that.
I know, I'll probably ask you to help me out with that. I'm in here all alone. No one wants to know about SEO, so I'm going to tell you the untold truth about SEO. My name is Eric LaCasse.